Good morning, everyone.
Good morning!
Thank you all for joining us here in Woodside. My name is Rochelle Ocampo, producer and co-host of Makilala TV, the first and now longest running Phil-Am TV talk show in the New York metro area.
Yes!
Today, along with everyone beside me, is here in support of my friend, Steven Raga, whom I've had the privilege of knowing for more than a decade from various community leadership groups and have seen firsthand of what he has accomplished for the Queens community, making it a better place for us to live, work, and visit. Steve has a proven track record of effectively building community and connecting people to resources that truly are needed, especially in Assembly District 30, where I've seen volunteers in droves, interns, and staff who not only worked on policies in the state level, but also looking out for all the constituents' concerns to improve their day-to-day lives. I have followed him as he broke through his major life accomplishments, and today is no different. Serving the community is in his blood, and he is the person whom I trust to lead Queens to a safer and thriving future. And before we have him share his remarks, we have special guests who would like to say a few words. I am pleased to introduce the first speaker, Nepali community leader, Shyam Karki.
Namaste, Kasikeller.
So, we belong to Nepalese community. So, it is very thankful to Steve Wonder to be a part of your election campaign.
Use the microphone, you can hear.
The microphone's for the TV, you won't be able to
It's
hear
okay.
it.
It's okay.
Just
what we
shout.
can do, we are always ready to win our Steve Wonder, but our Nepalese community coordination, our Vishnu Rana Magar. Where is Vishnu Rana Magar? So his coordination, our Nepali community. So wish you best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Shyam. Now we have Laura Gregory, lawyer and Community Board 4 member, Director at Large, member of District Attorney Office of Queens of AAPI Advisory Board, and founder of FARA, which stands for Filipino Americans for Racial Action. Laura.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Today is a historic day. Raga, 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 Raga. Thank you. Today is a historic day because we are joined not just by members of the AAPI community, but of our elected leaders who are here. Congresswoman Grace Meng, Sklarz, Jessica. Catalina, sorry. Catalina, I didn't have enough coffee. Catalina, State Senator John Liu. Of course, I did say already Melissa Sklarz. And I did say it is a historic day because for the first time, we have Steven Raga, who's endorsed by the Democratic Party to run as Assembly Member of District 30. Steven has worked in the very place where he is going to be elected. He started there. He knows how to formulate laws. He knows what is needed by the community. Today is also historic because we need to understand that in order to elect Steven, we have to start on the very grassroots level. What does that mean? To register to vote. And not only to register to vote, but to register as a Democrat. Because if you are not registered as a Democrat, you will not be able to participate in the primary elections. And that is the key to winning here. Steven needs to win the primary. So you go out 10 people, you tell them register as a Democrat. You know who we need to reach? We need to reach the people who are newly naturalized. Because when they go to the naturalization ceremony, they are asked, do you want to register to vote? They ask. And they ask you, do you want to register for a party? And they will say, no, I don't know enough of it. They will register as what? As an independent. If you register as an independent, you cannot vote for the Democratic primary. So this is very important. If there's one thing we need to take away from this thing is number one, the name of Stephen Raga, and number two, register as a Democrat. Thank you so much, Lara Gregory.
Our next speaker is no stranger to the community. Representing a broad area of Northeast Queens, New York State Senator John Lin.
The Iron Man! The Iron Man!
Raga! 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 I'm so delighted to join my Congressmember Grace Meng, our Assemblymember Catalina Cruz, our District Leader Melissa Sklarz, and so many community leaders. Today truly is an historic day. A day where we come together as a diverse community. We want to claim a seat in the New York State Legislature. Yay! That's right. There's a huge opportunity to expand the AAPI representation in government.
Yes.
It's a last minute thing, but as unexpected as it was just less than 2 weeks ago, Stephen Raga immediately stood up and said, I'm ready!
Yeah.
And we believe that he is ready. He's going to be the state assembly member representing this district, a district that in recent apportionment was created to have a 40% AAPI population. That's very significant. It's also significant that Steve would be the first Filipino American elected to anything in New York State. And so that's something that's important to the entire AAPI community. We've got plenty of like Chinese Americans, Joyce and I and others. We've got Korean Americans, we've got Bangladeshi, we have Indian. It's time to get a Filipino American elected to represent the diversity that the AAPI community has. So I'm just so excited. I'm so proud. Great to see a lot of old friends. My old friends here, they still have their hair. I lost all my hair. But in any event, this is a day when we're announcing this candidacy, and this is the first step. It's the first step, the announcement. There's going to be a primary. The primary election is it. As Lara said, the general election is not going to be competitive, but the primary will be competitive. So we've got less than 10 weeks to go until June 28th when we have to win this election for Stephen. So everybody's got to get out there so that we can do what? So that we can elect the first Pinoy office in New York.
Thank you, Senator. It is now my honor to introduce Democratic District Leader Melissa Sklarz.
Thank you, Rochelle. Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
I know, a big surprise, I'm not Filipino.
You are today.
I am today. So the 30th Assembly District has 125,000 New Yorkers. It has 80,000 elected registered people. It has 65,000 registered Democrats. On April 12th, the whole idea of running for the Assembly was up in the air when our current Assembly member decided he did not want to run again. We had 48 hours to find a replacement. Now, I'll be honest, there were names that were mentioned, but it was obvious very quickly there was one person who would be the best candidate for the Assembly in the 30th Assembly District, and that was Stephen Raga. He's smart, he's got 2 master's degrees, he's experienced not only for the Phil-Am community, but also for all of Queens. He's the executive director of Woodside on the Move. He's done politics before. He's worked with Brian Barnwell as the chief of staff. He was willing to run as district leader as a volunteer to help the neighborhood and the community get the best representation for Filipino Americans here in the Democratic Party in Queens. And as John Liu said, Stephen was willing to step up. To have him, the quality of his candidacy, the right person, the right place at the right time to represent all of us in Albany. He knows what needs to be done. He's smart, he's experienced, he's ready. I'm honored and privileged to stand with Stephen Raga for Assembly.
Thank you, Melissa. And before this, we were actually talking and just getting to know each other, and she was mentioning how much we need Stephen Raga. It's not that we want him, we actually need him to be our leader for Assembly District, so District 30. Our next guest speaker is Assembly Member Catalina Cruz, who represents New York State Assembly District 39, which is the most diverse district in the nation and encompasses the neighborhoods of Corona, Elmhurst, and Jackson Heights.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, right now where we're standing, starting January 1st, you're going to be the assembly member. I want to tell you about the historic nature of where we're making this announcement. Yes, the 39th district is the most diverse in the country, but it's this plaza, Diversity Plaza, that is a representation of who we are as a community. On any given day, you can come here and you can see Latinos, South Asians, East Asians, some of our neighbors who come all the way from as far as Manhattan to taste our amazing food. If you look around, you'll see different kinds of small businesses, all of them immigrant owned, all of them by families like ours that all they wanted to do was come to this country and look for a better future for their children. And so when I think about the trajectory that Stephen has had, and I actually know him from way back when we were staffers, I have seen him do the work. I have seen him do not the glamorous work of being in front of the cameras that we as electeds get to do, but the work that gets people to follow that American dream. Helping the small business who may have a fine, helping a parent who wants to get their kid into a better school, making sure that a dreamer can go and apply for the DREAM Act when it passed and get financial aid. That's who Stephen is. The kind of person who understands that at the nitty-gritty of being a good elected official, no offense to the cameras, it's not what we do here, but it's what we do behind closed doors to help our neighbors. Yes. And that's the kind of colleague I want, because that's the kind of colleagues that we are. I want the kind of person who's going to spend those very long hours trying to figure out if that business is being shut, how do I make sure that they don't shut down? Because there go those jobs, there go that family. I want that kind of colleague. The one that steps up when we needed to figure out who was going to lead this community. And I'm going to correct you on something, colleague Lou. He does have an opponent. There is someone else running, but I like how you're thinking about it.
Well, the primary is...
It doesn't matter.
That's right.
There's someone else on that ticket, but the only name you need to worry about is Stephen Raga.
Raga!
And so, Raga! And so the way I like to view these things is you don't have an opponent, there is someone else who also happens to be running. Because we don't want to give any other candidate the time of day or the attention. We want all of you to go out with us and knock on doors and tell our neighbors that it is Stephen Raga who's going to be the next assembly member. Act as if he's already the only choice. And when we get into that general election and that other Republican is around, still act as if Stephen is the only choice. Get people to vote for him, because we need more colleagues in the assembly who believe that it is those immigrant small businesses, that it is those immigrant families, that it is those people in our community who matter more than the politics, than the money, than anything else. So come out, help us knock on doors, because we're going to help him raise that money, and let's get him elected.
Thank you, Catalina. Our final guest speaker before Stephen shares his remarks is the Honorable Congressmember Grace Meng, who represents the 6th Congressional District of New York, which includes West, Central, and Northeast Queens. But most notably, she is one of our fiercest leaders in the face of battling anti-Asian hate.
That's right.
And of course, our friend.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rochelle. Thank you to everyone who is here today, here to support Stephen Raga's candidacy and here for our community and here to make history. We are here today so proud as we stand together to announce this historic candidacy. And we are also surrounded by historic trailblazers. Senator John Liu is a trailblazer in New York City, but especially for our AAPI community. And many people in our community are elected to where they are because of his efforts. Catalina Cruz, my good friend, is a trailblazer herself. She is the first Dreamer elected in the entire state of New York. Melissa Sklarz is also our good friend, one of the first trans elected in the entire state of New York to a Democratic Party position. And one of my favorite things and honorable things about Melissa is that Melissa spends so much time helping other communities and candidates break barriers and make history as well. You know, the Filipino American community has really been through so much, especially in these few years. As we are, as a country, battling COVID, so many Filipino Americans, especially essential and healthcare workers, have suffered disproportionately. As we combat, as Rochelle mentioned, this rising scourge of anti-Asian hate and discrimination, a disproportionately high number of Filipino Americans right here in New York have been targeted as well. And so we are really lucky, we are really blessed to have a candidate like Stephen who is willing to step up and willing to make sure that all of our voices are being heard in the halls of Albany and our state government. We're lucky because Stephen has a breadth and depth of experience from civic work to government work, leading the office of the current assembly member in this very exact and same district. There's really no one better than him to represent this district. He has experience on the community board. Just in the last few years, we have partnered with him and his team as he led a local nonprofit organization in the cold, in the heat, to literally take care of the most basic needs of our most vulnerable community members. So he's already been doing the work. And so let's get together. We literally have 2 months left. We have a very short time. Every day that goes by, we should be knocking on doors and making phone calls and sending emails and texts. Let's get it done and make history with Stephen Raga.
Raga, 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 Raga.
He doesn't get it.
And now,
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Of course, thank you for our elected officials, our community leaders, everyone who came in today. Very honored, very humbled. Again, just going through here, thank you. Our fighters like Catalina Cruz, all the state assembly, making sure that she's fighting for our communities and our immigrant population. And again, right now, currently, the most diverse district here in the state. So thank you very much for that. Senator John Liu, I think our community members, whenever we needed help, when he was in the city council, he was out there helping our Filipino American community. He was there in the front lines. I remember him in front of ABC Studios one day when we were having a rally to make sure that they treated Asian American healthcare professionals respectfully. So thank you that John's still out here and supporting all of us. Thank you, John. And Melissa Sklarz, again, everyone already took my talking points, but Melissa, again, trailblazer in every sense of the word. She's a longtime resident of AD 30, working for the rights and empowerment and making sure all folks that need to be heard are centered, uplifted, and their voices are taken seriously here in the state of New York. Melissa, thank you so much for being here today. And of course, I mean, we all, you know, it doesn't need introduction, but thank you, Congressmember Grace Meng. For a lot of us who also connect our work to the federal level, we know Grace is always there in the front lines for a lot of the work we're doing, especially recently with the rise of anti-Asian hate that I would commit on day one to making sure that's a priority and making sure that that's something that we're fighting against up in Albany. The neighborhoods of Woodside, Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, it's Middle Village, Maspeth, it's important to me. My family's been here since the 60s. Maybe it's the food, like you mentioned, I don't know. But it's important to me. I still live here just down the street on the other side of that building. I see it every day. I work right now every day in these neighborhoods, and it would be an honor to keep that up in the assembly and bringing those voices, those unheard, those that are marginalized, and centering them and fighting for them every day. It would be an honor. And also, this new Assembly District 30, as mentioned, I was the chief of staff for 4 years. As I remember, I might be the only chief of staff. Irreplaceable, you know? So it would be an honor to keep it up and making sure that, like again, Catalina mentioned, the work that's done behind the scenes for the government staffers, it's great, but then bringing that to when we're here in front of the cameras on the other side, that experience is necessary. We need to know how the team works. We need to know how it impacts the rest of the policies being implemented and how it impacts the rest of the district elected officials. So that's something that I'm willing to bring to the table there. But as said, this is a tight time frame. We have 2 months. So can we come together like we did this morning and make sure we're fundraising? Can folks come and help with that? Can we knock some doors? Can people come and help with that?
Yes.
No, and also, let's go get in our friends, join the fight, because our fight is everyone else's fight. We got to make sure that the people that need housing are protected. Those seniors that need protection and constituent services get it. Those immigrant youth that need supportive services and policy changes, they get it. I'm willing to fight for all of those down the line with my colleagues. Please come and join us. Let's take this for the next 2 months, and let's win this on the primary on June 28th. Thank you very much.
Raga!